Origin just almost and this is anti-tank dogs and explosive rats. Insane animal weapons used in World War II. This is by channel Factory Edition. Feels like a Salmonella video. I'm surprised Salmonella didn't make a video about this, or maybe one day he will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the Bat Bombs video, which is like similar to this. This is basically insane series. If there is series like there's a badass equipment, there's badass people. Now this is like an insane series as well, where just like somebody is like, what if I put some bombs on bats? Basically now rats and dogs as well. This is similar. I'm pretty sure there was something other as well. So this is like insane animal bomb series apparently, which US military did. Why not? So I'm guessing some of them are going to be catastrophic failure. Explosive rats. I mean, how do you do that? Look, I mean, how are you going to guide rats like that, right? I don't know. But it's going to be fun. It's Factory Electrician video. Yeah. I did quite a few Factory Electrician video already. If you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description. Check out the end card. I already created a playlist for it, I guess. And yeah, let's watch it.
You talked about America's pigeon-guided bomb from World War II. And America's
pigeon-guided bombs.
World War II. So today we're just going to finish off the topic and discuss the 3 remaining animal weapons from World War II and World War II alone, because if we went in detail on every animal weapon throughout the course of human history, we would be here literally all day long. Because trust me when I tell you that people have been trying to kill other people with animals and fire for as long as people have been a thing. I mean, just to gloss over a couple, back in the day, the standard operating procedure for combating war elephants was to take a bunch of pigs, light them on fire, and release them onto the battlefield to simultaneously scare the fuck out of Dumbo and cook dinner at the same time, which honestly is just god tier level multitasking. And then in like 900 AD, you had Olga of Kiev burning down an entire city with flaming pigeons, subsequently killing like 5,000 people, and there was no PETA back then, so she later on became a saint, which is like the most gangster kill streak of all time. Look, I'm not saying it's right, but to a...
Yeah, I saw the video about that. I don't know, like, I think it was some Salmonella type of channel, animated channel, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was like a tents and huts. He basically just like, I'm pretty sure he just went there to talk some kind of peace treaty, come back and just release the fucking pigeon and burn shit down. That's an insane thing, right? Some of the historical figures are way too insane.
Achieve both of those things in one lifetime is impressive. And then in the 1200s, you had Genghis Khan, who did pretty much the exact same thing, except he used cats instead. And then here's a German military manual from the 1500s that clearly depicts how to do both of these strategies. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is people have literally been trying to light each other on fire using animals for all of human history, and it gets progressively worse and more weird the longer time goes on, until it would eventually peak during the Cold War when Britain made a chicken-powered nuclear landmine, but all of that's a story for a different time.
Oh man, it's like, I don't like... Factory Electrician does this a lot. Why do I have trouble saying Factory Electrician today? He does that a lot, man. Oh, there's this, but I guess we'll talk about it later. It's like, oh my god, this 2-3 times he does that, and I'm pretty sure, obviously he's gonna make a video about it, but not now. What the fuck, how do you make a nuclear landmine using chickens? This is insane shit. And, you know, one thing's for damn sure, right? Our societal norms and structures are mostly like superficial in a way, isn't it? Because whenever it comes to like national security or whenever the war is on, everything gets thrown aside. PETA gets thrown aside whenever there's like wartime. My ass is on fire. I don't care about animals and that, right? All those people, like, you know, there are way too many people who just like, you know, care about cats and dogs more than their own fucking kids. Which is, I feel like, must be some kind of mental issue. I don't care how much you like your cats and dogs. Like, how do you like that more than your fucking baby? That doesn't make sense. And things like this really solidifies it. Whenever it's wartime, people will throw fucking cats and dogs, light them on fire just for survival, right? I mean, look, I like cats and dogs, right? Just like any other person, but humans do take precedent. Come on, man. Humans are more important. So, it's just insane. Every time, I won't be surprised if World War III starts and some shit like this happen again. We like to think that we are so better now. We're just more advanced. Everything's just better. Everything can get thrown aside if the war starts. That's for damn sure.
Alright, kicking off our animal-based weapons of World War II list in absolutely no particular order that somebody is still gonna tell me I'm wrong about, somehow, we have the United States cat bomb. Except instead of using pigeons that were trained for 6 months to peck at the shape of a ship, the OSS, or Office of Strategic Services, which was Basically like the CIA back then, got together, they said training pigeons for 6 months takes too long, we're just gonna try throwing a cat in there to see what happens. And their logic was, cats always land on their feet, and cats hate water. So if we stick one inside of a bomb, yeet it out the back of a plane, and all it can see is a giant ship and the ocean, it will instinctively drive the bomb into the ship.
Oh my god, do they think cat fly? Cat prefer not to drop on water, but if there is only water, how is it gonna guide itself to fucking boat? Is it gonna glide, fly somehow like Superman? Their whole thing was, okay, we don't have to have a laser guided thing because it will land on a ship anyway. It's not gonna go in the water. How is it not gonna go in the water if you throw it on top of the water? What's gonna fly? Did they even think of this? Like, this is like top level security shit where with multiple people in one office talking about it. None of them thought like this is just stupid. What the fuck?
Because it doesn't want to land in the water and get wet. Now, to be fair, that makes sense if you don't think about it. So the government's like,
Exactly.
I mean, let's give it a shot. What do we have to lose? It's just taxpayer money and stray cats. Who gives a fuck? So that's exactly what they did. And not
it's just taxpayer money. Who gives a shit? Some politician will pocket it anyway.
only did it failed quicker than anybody could have possibly imagined. Because as it turns out, not only did cats not instinctively know how to drive a 500-pound bomb, but they also lose consciousness when free falling. So the US government just drowned a bunch of cats. So yeah, it's definitely warheads on foreheads, not felines on foreheads. Write that down. Moving on. Coming in at number 2, we have the Soviet Union.
Oh my god, this is just... Okay, seriously, like, I don't know how, like... First of all, cats losing consciousness is kind of like surprising to me. Because I was seeing cats drop from 10-story buildings and just walk away without even having any damage. I'm pretty sure it got damaged, but it's just like, I don't give a shit, and just walks away. Cats can be resilient. I'm sure cats, whenever they fall, do have some kind of a damage because that's how fucking physics work. But they just walk it off. Like, that's some insane shit. Alright? It's, animals don't bitch about things, let's be honest, right? We get a paper cut, and we're gonna cry. Cats not gonna do that, dogs are not gonna do that. So there is some... And seriously, man, did anybody throw some predator at some enemy or something, like Far Cry or something? Release a tiger or lion in some way, some camp or something, right? They basically throw all this, like, gather certain tigers and lions and just throw them at the enemy camp or something. Has somebody done that? Because I'm pretty sure that was like a big thing in Far Cry games, right? Far Cry 3, 4 and things like that. That would be insane.
Anti-tank dogs. It's a pretty straightforward and shitty concept. Basically, the Soviets would train a bunch of dogs if there were treats underneath tanks. They would then send the dogs to the front line, put a bomb vest on them with a large lever on the back, in the hopes that the dogs would run, dive underneath German tanks looking for treats.
Oh my god. This is so dark, isn't it, man? Imagine like dogs just like, playful, wagging its tail and everything. Oh, look at that. It's just like, what are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? Is that a treat? And just boom. It's way too dark, man. Same thing with the cat. Cat has no idea what the fuck. At least they were training cat. And even then, cat doesn't know what the fuck is happening. Cat just drowned. Like, why did some humans just throw me in the ocean and just, God, this is so dark. Whenever it comes to like defense and, whenever it's like back is against the wall, humans will do fucking anything.
That would throw the lever back, which would set off the bomb vest, blowing up the dog, and hopefully blowing up the German tank. Now, I think we can all agree that that's a really shitty thing to do to the goodest comrade. However, there is a silver lining, because karma would hit back really hard on this one. You see, as it turns out, the Soviets were just training with whatever they had available, and they didn't have very many German tanks laying around, so they were training the dogs using Soviet tanks.
Oh my
god. What
god.
people don't realize is Soviet tanks ran on diesel, and German tanks ran on gasoline.
Oh my god, they just blew up their own fucking tanks. Dog just ran into their own tanks. Oh.
Not a huge difference in appearance to a human, but to a dog who uses its sense of smell, It's an enormous difference. So big, in fact, that the dogs pretty much exclusively ran and dove underneath Soviet tanks, blowing up their own comrades. Karma's a bitch. And finishing off our list, we have Britain's exploding rat.
Oh my god. Oh, that is so insane. So it's like, yeah, the dog's gonna kill all the Germans. Like, how? You're training with... I mean, why did they release dogs where their own tank is present? First of all, even without the smell, if they're trained with their own tank, because wow, they have German tanks with them, Well, I don't know. But if they're trained using their own tanks, wouldn't they just like, okay, the dogs might just run into our own tanks? Like, isn't this like a volatile thing? Like, why would you risk it?
Basically, they were going to take a bunch of dead rats, scoop out their insides, and fill them full of plastic explosives. They would then use a spy network to smuggle in these rats to important
Did he just scoop out the internal? How the fuck a rat is alive?
strategic locations and just kind of like sprinkle them around near-ish the boiler room in hopes that the boiler room technician would find a dead rat, say, huh, and then
Dead rat, okay.
throw it into the fire for the boiler, blowing it up, causing a bunch of mayhem. And I know what you're thinking. Why on earth would you use a dead rat? Why not just use a fake piece of coal full of explosives like the Americans did in the Civil War? That makes way more sense. That's exactly what I thought. But then it hit me. And hear me out when I say this. Maybe, just maybe, it's more likely that they would throw a rat into the fire, and here's why. You see, the bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death, literally killed off like half of Europe. And the bubonic plague was spread from fleas that were living on rats, meaning that it stands to reason that a significant portion, if not all of the people on the European continent during World War II had a genetic predisposition to seeing a dead rat and being like,
cast it into the fire!
Now, despite the fact that this was actually a good idea, it never actually panned out.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works, right? I mean, you need to have a longer span of something happening, like centuries or something happening before, like, genetically somebody would be affected. Not to mention that, like, you have to have a constant, thing. Like, okay, bubonic plague, did the resurgence happen a lot of times? If that happens, then, like, everybody would just have the instinctive, like, okay, I'm going to throw in the rat. But at the same time, like, if there's a coal or so lying around, when you like burning coal, there might be many coal around, right? And if you see one coal, you might just like, oh, fuck it, let it be laid there. There's a chance of that. Rat is like a different thing, and rats can smell, so they will probably throw it in the fire, right? Living thing, like if the dead rat is around, it will smell. It will be horrendously smelly. So I think they would just throw it in because of that. Like living dead, something that was alive, not dead, there's a risk. People would just throw it. Like coal can just like, yeah, there's one coal, they might not throw it. So there's that reason, I guess. I don't get it. Like, was this like instead of time roller, somebody just throw the dead rat and run away, and when the people that's just there, they would throw it inside, some shit like that? Because if you want to just do that, if you're already there, I'm guessing the person who sabotaged it was in the boiler room when they throw the dead rat there. Why not just throw the bomb and just run away? I don't know.
The way they planned, because Germany actually intercepted the first batch of exploding rats they ever made, at which point Britain decided to cut their losses on the entire idea because the Germans knew what they were up to. However, the Germans didn't know that, so they spent the rest of World War II inspecting every dead rat they found to see if it was an explosive rat or not.
It's a
and
success.
The best way to do that was to look at the rat's ass because it had a fuse sticking out of it. And funnily enough, this is exactly where the phrase, "I don't give a rat's ass" came from, because after a bunch of German boiler technicians spent months or years looking at dead rats' balloon knots and never finding a fuse ever,
Really?
They said, fuck it, I'm done looking at rat buttholes, and they just started throwing the rats in the fire without checking, hence the term, "I don't give a rat's ass." To be completely honest, did I just make that shit up? Yeah. Is it true? Fucking maybe, but I doubt it. However, I did
No, I thought that was stupid, so obviously made it up. I don't give a rat's ass means like it's a exaggerated way of saying insignificant. I don't care about rat, let alone rat's ass. Like why would anything related to this? It's a exaggerated way of saying something that is insignificant. It could imply to anyone, but rats is like rodents of the house, I guess. Whereas I don't give a rat's ass, like it's nothing for me type of thing. This would be opposite of, if anything. If people just constantly see rats' asses, if it has bomb in it, that phrase wouldn't make sense.
have you going for a second. Now, origins of the phrase "I don't give a rat's ass" aside, the British do consider this entire mission an enormous success just due to the sheer amount of man hours that Germany wasted looking for explosive rats that never actually existed. So, task failed successfully, I guess. In conclusion, nothing quite stokes the fire of human creativity like trying to kill a motherfucker that you don't like. And creativity is absolutely imperative because, well, it's never a war crime the first time. And on that note, thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch.
I love the phrase. Especially that woman thing, right? Who was like queen or a saint, became a saint, right? She just burned all those pigeons. It's not a war crime in the first time. So yeah, she became a saint.
TheFatElectrician.com. Quack bang out.
That's the end of that. Okay. The insane shit. Anti-tank dogs, which is like a horrendous things, and explosive rats. I guess cats don't get mentioned here. Obviously, like missile-guided cats or whatever. Imagine if somebody did that. I believe the outrage would be worse if somebody did that compared to the actual wars that are going on today. Which I don't know what to think of that. Like, I love cats and dogs, but you care about their lives more than humans? Like, there is a mental issue here, man. Come on. That's just insane. Alright, well, that was an anti-tank dogs and explosive rats. Insane animal weapon used in World War II. He should do insane animal weapons used in any war. He should do more more videos about that, because this is what made Salmonella famous. Ridiculous shit like this. So yeah, this was the channel, The Fat Electrician. If you like my reaction, do subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.